Discretion is advised.
The city is preparing for another night of protests. Just within the last hour, we learned tonight there will be another curfew in effect. WBTV's Ben Williamson was there as Charlotte's mayor and police chief once again addressed the media. And Ben, one of the key pieces of information was that there was an arrest for the murder of that one protester Wednesday night.
Yeah, there was. We just got that update this morning, and the chief lauding that arrest. We know. Take a look at this. This is an exclusive video, Christine, that we got here at WBTV. This is Wakron Borum walking into CMPD headquarters. He has now been charged with the shooting death of Justin Scott, that young 26-year-old that was shot and killed on Wednesday night during those protests. That was, they said that was great work by those detectives working very quickly. As far as the protests last night,
few nights I've been very proud of our officers, our men and women that are out on the streets. I've been very proud of my members, the Fraternal Order Police, and their conduct out there, how they're handling themselves. I still say that this is not Charlotte that's out here. These are outside entities that are coming in and causing these problems. These are not protesters, these are criminals. Protesters fight for a cause, they sit down and discuss it. These are protesters that commit crime. They're criminal. They're out here for a different purpose. They're not here to resolve issues and resolve problems. They're out here for their own good.
So you're saying that all the people on the streets are not from Charlotte?
Well, I'm not saying all the people, but we've got the instigators that are coming in from the outside. I mean, you've heard reports even last night. They were coming in on buses from out of state. If you go back and look at some of the arrests that were made last night, I can about say that probably 70% of those had out-of-state IDs. They're not coming from Charlotte. Yeah, we've got some people here in Charlotte that are upset because they don't have the answers. Well, we don't have all the answers either, and that's why we have to trust in our system and do a thorough investigation to get to all the answers.
Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. He has no weapon. He has no weapon. Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. He didn't do anything. He doesn't have a gun. He has a TBI. He's not going to do anything to you guys. He just took his medicine. Keith, don't let them break the windows. Come on out the car. Keith, don't do it. Keith, get out the car. Keith, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Keith, don't you do it. Did you shoot him? Did you shoot him? Did you shoot him? He better not be fucking dead. He better not be fucking dead. I know that fucking much. I know that much. He better not be dead. I'm not gonna come near you. I'm gonna record though. I'm not coming near you. I'm gonna record though. He better be alive because I'm coming. You better be alive. How about that? Yes, we're over here at 9453 Lexington Court. These are the police officers that shot my husband, and he better live. He better live because he didn't do nothing to them. He good. Ain't nobody touch nobody, so they all good. I know he better live. I know he better live. How about that? I'm not coming to you guys, but he better live. He better live. Y'all hear this and you see this, right? He better live. He better live. I swear he better live. Yep. He better live. He better fucking live. He better live. Where is... He better fucking live, and I can't even leave the damn... I ain't going nowhere. I'm in the same damn spot. The fuck? That's okay. Did y'all call the police? Did y'all call an ambulance?
All right, joining me now is Minister Corinne Mack, the president of the NAACP in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg branch. Good morning, and thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
Should police release that video?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're calling for transparency. And at the end of the day, if we want to really begin to build a better relationship, then be transparent. It starts there.
Have police, to your knowledge, thought about inviting a member of the Scott family to view that tape and maybe NAACP officials as well?
The NAACP has not been asked to come and view the video. My understanding is that the Scott family is going to be given the opportunity to do so. If it's done, I'm not sure when, but I'm hoping that it's done very soon.
Have you talked to any members of the Scott family?
I haven't, as of Tuesday, I have not spoken to anyone, no.
So what did they tell you on Tuesday?
They were still in the throes of pain. Many of them were still crying, some hysterically crying, and some were just in a daze. They had just lost their dad and in mourning. But we did discuss who their father was to them, the kind of person he was in terms of his character, how loving he was, not only to them but to other members and children in the community. He was well loved. We heard that from the children as well as neighbors and friends.
Even if police release video of the incident involving Mr. Scott, I suspect that some members in the community still won't believe what went down, as they watch that, won't believe that videotape tells the whole story. How do you get past that?
At the end of the day, a video may show a different perspective depending on the angle. And so if we don't have many different angles, you may not get the full picture. I think the most important part is the contrast in him having a book versus a gun. But in my mind and in most of the community's mind, it really doesn't matter if he had a gun. It really doesn't matter if he had a gun. It really doesn't matter if he had a gun. At the end of the day, we have the right under the Second Amendment to carry here in North Carolina and find out if he had a permit for his gun and allow him to go on his merry way, and he would still be living today. That's not what happened. And so I don't want anyone to walk away from this conversation today thinking that a video showing he had a gun in any way said that he was guilty of anything.
So how can police convince the community? Because it seems like the police chief thinks, at least at this point, that the shooting was justified. How do police convince citizens in Charlotte that maybe police were justified in shooting Mr. Scott?
I don't think he's going to be able to do that. We've had too many African American men and women killed at the hands of police, and every one of those cases are deemed, or at least 99% of those cases are deemed justifiable. In most cases, all a cop has to say is that I was in fear of my life. It was an imminent threat. He was on drugs, or he had a weapon. It was an imminent threat. He was on drugs, or he had a weapon. But as I stated earlier, when we have a white sister or brother who has a gun or even points a gun at someone, we had a case recently where the gunman actually shot cops. He was brought down. It was de-engaged, de-escalated. He was allowed to live. And all we're asking for is the same treatment, to use de-escalation, to treat us with humanity, with dignity and respect, and allow us to live.
Minister Corinne Mack, thank you so much for being with me this morning.
Presence of a gun. There's a lot of things there. We're evaluating them, and at some point we'll make a further statement to the public about our position.
Any timeline on that?
We're working on it diligently. We just got on the case yesterday, and so everybody's got a head start but us, but we'll make up the ground.
Live 9:45 every weeknight here on the Blaze Facebook page. Okay, cultural appropriate. Well, let's start with Charlotte. Charlotte's erupting again in violence because of, again, these claims that some people are being targeted because of their race for extra police violence, which of course is nonsense. We've laid that out over and over and over again. But I got a couple of questions about it. First of all, an update on what's happening tonight. The National Guard, because of the violence last night and tonight, Charlotte's mayor now, Jennifer Roberts, has declared a curfew beginning tonight at midnight, going to 6 a.m.
I was out on the streets last night, listening to folks who were there, and was grateful to see people voicing their opinions peacefully. I was also encouraged to see acts of gratitude and acts of positive personal interaction between demonstrators and our men and women in uniform. Last night, I signed a citywide curfew that is in effect between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. This curfew is a tool that allows us to adjust enforcement at the direction of our law enforcement officials.
And what are your thoughts of that? Think about it a minute. She said, we need a curfew because of the violence, and that curfew will start tonight at midnight and go to 6 a.m. Midnight? I mean, the crap's going down now. What are you waiting until midnight for the curfew? I mean, I understand you have other issues because there's plenty of people that are out there just going about their business that are going to go have a drink or dinner or something like this, going to a friend's house. Curfews are always a little odd anyways, but if you've gotten to the point where you say, damn it, we need a curfew, let's do something, what do you wait till midnight for? Put the curfew in place now in certain areas even. You could do that. That just seemed a little bit odd to me, but okay, that's what's going on. I have a couple of questions about what's happening in Charlotte tonight, and I'm just curious your thoughts as well. And by the way, after our Facebook Live tonight, you can catch me on Twitter anytime. It's at Doc Thompson Show, and tomorrow morning on the Blaze Radio Network, theblaze.com/radio for any of the live programming. You want to find out about me, theblaze.com/doc. So here's my question about the rioters tonight. Where do you spend your time? What do you have to do tomorrow? What do you have to do tonight? Because, see, I have to do this tonight, and tomorrow I have to work. And after my morning radio program tomorrow, I'm going to do a bunch of other work to prep for next week and other things I have going on. And then I'm going to clean the house, and then I'm going to mow the lawn. My day will be filled all day tomorrow, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Every day is filled. What is it you people are doing? I mean, aside from my actual job that I get paid to do, I have a bunch of other jobs as dictated because I am a married man. I have other jobs that I have to do to help family and friends out. I mean, this is a non-stop. My life is filled to the brim. So what the hell are you people doing? You have nothing in your life to do but protest. This is it? This is what you have? By the way, as we touched this morning on our radio broadcast, I'm tired of the word protest because it's no longer a protest. In fact, I had to catch myself there just calling it a protest. It's a riot. If you're burning crap down, you're an arsonist. If you're stealing stuff, you're a thief. If you're killing people, you're a murderer. Let's stop calling them protesters, okay? I mean, some people are out there truly protesting, have an issue, they've peacefully assembled, great, I get it. But a lot of them are criminals, and it's about time we started calling them that. Protesters. It's so ridiculous. And what is this all based on? Of course, the alleged belief that racism is running so rampant with police across America that they are willing to kill because they are racist. Whether it's overt racism or some institutionalized, subversive racism, that's what's at the bottom of it all.
In California Congressman Darrell Issa right now joining us live. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us this morning. It is good to have you. Your reaction, first off, to the protests that we're seeing this morning in Charlotte.
Well, I think 7 years ago, the norm in the United States would have been give police the benefit of the doubt. Give them those 24 hours to answer the community's question. Instead, now we have the worst possible result. If the police are absolutely right and absolutely innocent, there's still a dozen injured police. If the police are wrong, there's already a predetermination rather than let the police and the law enforcement regulate itself. Give them a chance. Give them that 24 hours to hold their own accountable, because police do make mistakes. Police do things wrong from time to time. But on balance, you and I both know that more often than not, the facts are in favor of the police's action, not in favor of somebody who is presumed innocent and wrongfully killed by these communities. This is really destroying that relationship we need to have with police, which is give them a benefit of the doubt, but hold them accountable.
Our officers observed a subject, Mr. Keith Lamont Scott, inside a vehicle at the apartment complex. He exited the vehicle armed with a handgun. The officers observed him get back into that vehicle, at which time they approached the vehicle to engage this subject. The officers gave loud, clear, verbal commands, which were also heard by many of the witnesses. They were instructing the subject, once he got out of the vehicle, to drop the weapon, to drop the weapon, to drop the weapon. In spite of the verbal commands, Mr. Scott, as I said, exited his vehicle armed with a handgun, as the officers continued to yell at him to drop it. He stepped out, posing a threat to the officers, and Officer Brentley Vinson subsequently fired his weapon, striking the subject. The officers immediately requested medic and began performing CPR. Medic responded and transported the subject to the scene to CMC, where he later was succumbed by his injuries.
Guys, is there anything we should know?
No. Just know that all white people are fucking devils.
And make sure you air that one.
Air that shit.
Now. Don't take that
all
down.
white cops are fucking devils and white people. Y'all are fucking devils. I don't like none of you motherfuckers.
No, I don't.
Guys, is there anything we should know?
No.
Just know that all white people are fucking devils.
And make sure you air that one.
Air that shit.
Now. Don't take that
all
down.
white cops are fucking devils and white people. Y'all are fucking devils. I don't like none of you motherfuckers.
Suspend due process.
Would you arrest, Reverend, those who got so violent that they set fire to vehicles, they set fire to retail establishments, they broke in and looted those establishments? Would you say you are disgracing the message of Dr. King, and I will not support that behavior?
Well, you disgrace the message of Dr. King, you don't do justice and love mercy. I mean, don't pull Dr. King, make him a cover for
That's not what I asked.
Would
you say that no, you went one step too far there?
But Dr. King, looking at the riot in L.A., said when he hits that point, it's extreme. He said the voices of the unheard, that's people lose it at some point in time. People can.
So you condone their losing and justify what they did.
Can you imagine for a moment if we had this many black police shooting white folk in the back? What would your response be?
No.
It
would be the same.
No, you're not telling
the truth. Reverend, you're not telling the truth.
This many black police shooting white folk in the back,
you
what
are
would you do?
an apostle of Martin Luther King,
and Jesus Christ, I understand all of that.
Who advocated peaceful protests. You are justifying what happened last night. When a lot of those people went way beyond.
I still advocate peaceful protests. You didn't quite answer my question. Say, if this many whites have been shot by blacks in the back, what would be the response?
I wouldn't break into Macy's. I wouldn't break into any store. I would peacefully protest my rage, as is my right as an American, as is your right as an American. But you are being very colorblind about it, right? You are taking that, right? You are taking that, right? You are taking the side.
You think everybody would take a pattern of white as opposed to calling it retribution and why would blacks shoot whites? You think it would be as peaceful as you are?
If I generalized about races the way you just did about these incidents with police shootings, you would be all over me.
This is not generalization. This is specific. Walter Scott is specific.
You're saying all 680 cases of these shootings were that way. You're saying, without even acknowledging all the violence of black on black crime in Chicago, and saying it's no big deal. Well, I'm not going to pay attention to that.
Well, in Chicago, you have 3,000 shot. You have 500 killings.
And what have you said?
An awful lot, and preach a lot of the funerals in this source of pain.
But where's the rage over that?
Well, the rage has been expressed. One rage was expressed when they covered up the killing of a kid, LaGuan McDonald's, 14 months. And people responded by voting the state's attorney out. They responded with very ordered, disciplined political process. So some people may respond and some may not respond.
So you'll be a fair and balanced critic to needless violence, no matter where it is?
Of course we are.
Okay. Reverend, thank you very, very much.
You quite get my response. If you had this many white people being shot by black police, what do you think the response would be?
The same, but peaceful.
Right.
In the nation's largest independent.
Well, Brian, what we just heard a few moments ago was either flashbangs going off, and it looks like there's some kind of gas deployed. Our best guess is tear gas, as we saw a lot of protesters start running down the street here. This would mark an escalation of the night's event. So far, we have seen bottles being thrown, but this is the first time we've seen police deploy any of these tactics. So we heard a couple of large, loud explosions just a couple of moments ago, and as you can see, there's some tear gas up there. We don't want to go anywhere near that, but we saw a lot of protesters taking off up the street. Again, this is all having to do with the CMPD officer involved. Deadly shooting to happen just up the street from here. We are in the university area of Charlotte tonight. Protests been going on all night long.
People downcast in despair see the disillusion everywhere, hoping their bad luck will change. Gets a little harder every day. People struggle, people fight for the simple pleasures in their life. The trouble comes from everywhere. It's a little more than you can bear. Know that it will hurt.
And our officers, acting heroically, we're just trying to de-escalate the situation and resolve it as peacefully as possible.
Things are and the way they've been, and the way they've always been.
The crowd back away from that Omni Hotel area, which has been obviously the center of a lot of the violence tonight, and trying to push that crowd back. They were trying to get various people, agitators, out of the crowd, and as other people came in to try to grab those people.
Ed, are you okay?
Yeah, we're fine, Anderson, we're fine. So just someone taking out their frustrations on me. Right.
So if you need to leave that location, Ed, that's fine. Just let us know.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out what to do here. Give us a second, Anderson.
All right, yeah,
we'll figure it out.
We'll check back in with you a little bit. You take care of it.
Not long ago, everyone was watching. You were essentially assaulted on camera during Anderson's show. How are you doing? And tell us what happened exactly.
Well, we were just doing the report, and I didn't see it coming. I just all I heard was someone yelling at me that I needed to, quote, tell the truth. And the next thing you know, got kind of blindsided. Now, oddly enough, I'm trying to find the guy. There was a guy that just came up to me a few moments ago and told me he was the one that knocked me out. I didn't see the guy, and he came up to me and actually hugged me and apologized for what he had done. I asked him what had happened, what made him so angry, and he couldn't really explain anything. So, but oddly enough, I've lost him now. I'm trying to find him again. Kind of just another odd moment in this surreal evening.
People shallow, self-absorbed, see the push and shove for their rewards. Naughty mind is on their minds. You can read about it in their eyes. People ruthless, people cruel, all the damage that some people do. Full of hatred, full of pride. It's enough to make you lose your mind. I know that it will hurt. I know that it will break your heart. The way things are and the way they've been. Yeah, I know that it will hurt. I know that it will break your heart. The way things are and the way they've been. Don't spread the discontent, don't spread the lies. Don't make the same mistakes with your own life. You never will let love survive. I know that it will hurt. I know that it will break your heart. Don't spread the discontent, don't spread the lies. Don't make the same mistake with your own life. Don't disrespect yourself, don't lose your pride.